Good morning. I'm Mike Michaud. It is August 6th, and it's a beautiful day. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Brunswick on this Wabanaki land that we now call Brunswick, Maine. If you are visiting and would like more information about our congregation, please stop at the visitors table in the fellowship hall. The folks there will be happy to answer any of your questions. In the interest of safety, please note that there are 3 exits to this building. One is through the door that you came in, directly behind you. A second exit is in the back of this room on the right, just past the AV booth. And the third is at the back of the building through the RE area. This morning service will be led by Reverend Christina Saleri, and we welcome her. As we begin the service today, please silence your mobile devices. Again, welcome. We are glad you're here.
Thank you, Michael. Good morning, UU Church of Brunswick. Our chalice lighting words this morning are from UU Muslim of Iraqi descent, Summer El-Beati. We move in the liminal spaces that show shades of what can become, what can be. We light this chalice as a symbol of courage to move into that time of this and that, and not this and not that. With patience and faith and love and hope that this time will pass. Like the sun that moves in between rising and setting, reminding us that beauty resounds in betwixt and in between. Our opening words are called Threshold by freelance writer Maggie Smith. You want a door you can be on both sides of at once. You want to be on both sides of here and there, now and then, together. And what did we call the life we would wish back, the old life, the before? But any open space may be a threshold, an arch of entering and leaving, crossing a field, wading through nothing but timothy grass. Imagine yourself passing from and into, passing through doorway after doorway after doorway. Let us sing from the Gray Hymnal, number 352, Find a Stillness. so I invite us to take a moment to be in stillness, maybe to close your eyes or gaze downwards, not looking at the screen or at me. Just take a moment to arrive here in your body, in this beautiful space, on this beautiful day. Taking a few breaths into your heart center. Tuning into your connection to our great Mother Earth. Opening to the sky, to the cosmos. Feeling how the earth and the cosmos connect in our hearts. On that vertical plane. Taking a few more breaths into the heart and sensing our connection to each other, to all the hearts in this space. And beyond this space, in your families and communities. And then back to your own heart, fully arriving here and now. And listening to things to do in the belly of the whale by Dan Albergati. Things to do in the belly of the whale. Measure the walls. Count the ribs. Notch the long days. Look up for blue sky through the spout. Make small fires with the broken hulls of fishing boats. Practice smoke signals. Call old friends and listen for echoes of distant voices. Organize your calendar. Dream of the beach. Look each way for the dim glow of light. Work on your reports. Review each of your life's 10 million choices. Endure moments of self-loathing. Find the evidence of those before you. Destroy it. Try to be very quiet and listen for the sound of gears moving water. Listen for the sound of your heart. Be thankful that you are here, swallowed with all hope, where you can rest and wait. Be nostalgic. Think of all the things you did and could have done. And remember, treading water in the center of the still night sea, your toes pointing again and again down, down into the black depths.
Good morning. I'm Mary Larson, not Irene Austin, and I'm here to read your joys and concerns this morning. Again, there were no joys written, but I hope you can all think of one right now. My particular joy is that Reverend Christine is here. I've tried for a long time to get her to come to UUCB. I met her years ago. Concerns? Nancy Dorian regrets not being here today to hear her hymn she wrote the words for. It's going to be our closing hymn, number 22, Dear Weaver of Our Lives Design. But she has a terrible cold and won't join us this morning. Sarah Workman, daughter of Sue and Steve Labes, who has been on chemo for pancreatic cancer, is now off all cancer treatment. The latest scan at Dana-Farber showed that the chemo is no longer effective. Love and support may be sent to the whole family as they face the time ahead. Please take a moment. Oh, I'm going to read this part first. If you are not attending in-person services or would like a joy or concern read from the pulpit, you may send an email to uucbjoysandconcerns@gmail.com. This address is up on the screen and in UUCB's weekly email. If you have a concern you would like to discuss in private, please speak with a pastoral care associate. We have light blue ribbons on our name tags and would be happy to listen and help. Please take a moment to think of your own joys and concerns in silence.
You feel a little far away. Nobody's sitting in the front. It's okay. So liminality. Someone said they came just to find out what that word actually means. So for me, it's a suspended time of sacred nothingness. And it's a secret desire I carry deep in my being. I'm forever longing for liminal space, the space in between here and there and nowhere, where I no longer know who I am. Because this is how I grow and change. And this is how I become more of who I am. As a child and young adult, I had plenty of liminal experiences. They just occurred. Like in nature, they would occur. Once I was at the Arnold Arboretum in Jamaica Plain, where I climbed a tree and was lying on a branch and felt like I became one with the tree. With good friends, I would sit and we would stare into each other's eyes for so long that we transformed into other beings. Sometimes during sleep, I would witness myself leaving my body and floating above it. Sometimes I would find myself dissolving, my mind surrendering to some unknown field of energy, whence I would eventually emerge transformed. And none of this was on drugs. I still have these experiences, but not as often as I wish. Liminal, from the Latin, means threshold. We can experience liminality in a physical space. It's that uneasy feeling of being hyper-aware and a little uncertain, maybe even a little unsafe. Have you ever walked through a city late at night in the evening? Or just missed a train in an underground subway station? Or been alone in a beautiful building, maybe this building, or a museum? Or been somewhere in the natural world, somewhere where the space feels out of its normal context and purpose, and puts you on the threshold of a different reality. This experience of interdimensionality is often used as a powerful setting for storytelling, beginning with one of America's first short stories, Rip Van Winkle. Some of our culture's favorite movies portray the heroic figure leaving the safety of their home and traveling into dangerous and bizarre other worlds. Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, Morpheus in The Matrix, Diana in Wonder Woman, Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, Jen Yu in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. All experience what Carl Jung calls individuation, a movement through liminal space and time, from disorientation to integration. Our lives may not be as dramatic and magical as a book or a movie, although the world sometimes feels like a horror flick at times, but this idea of leaving something safe and entering an unknown, scary landscape is something we've all experienced. Moving into a new home or place, graduating from school, getting divorced, leaving or losing our job, retiring, aging, experiencing the loss of a loved one, or being in the process of dying, the ultimate liminal space, can leave us betwixt and between. We have left what was, or it was taken from us, but haven't yet inhabited what's next. When is the last time you felt disoriented or experienced a liminal change? Well, you all did last night, because sleeping is a liminal space, hopefully we enter every evening. And we can sense this liminality in the early morning or maybe in the middle of the evening when we are floating in and out of sleep. Deep in the night, we may be dreaming, unsure of where we are or what is real. Yet, as daylight calls us back into three-dimensional awareness, we re-enter the linear world of structure and form. You may also have experienced liminality during a ritual or a ceremony. 19th century Belgian folklorist Arnold van Gennep says there are 3 stages of liminality during rituals and rites of passage. 1, the ending of something, or the separation from ordinary life. 2, embodying the margin or limen, a state of limbo or the unknown where there is potential and possibility. And 3, reaggregation, returning to the secular or mundane world with a transformed awareness or a different perception. These stages also apply to regular life transitions. However, in seasons of waiting, this crossing over place where we have left something behind and are not yet fully in something else can feel perilous and create serious anxiety. As a result, we may dig in our heels and avoid making a transition. We'll stay in the lousy marriage. Wait a few more years before moving, put up with oppression from our employer, postpone our retirement until we have more money. When we finally do enter the transition, many of us will try to get through it as quickly as possible, leaping into what's next so we can feel comfortable and sane once again. This is a mistake. Liminal space, my experience of liminal space is it is vital to my well-being because it shakes me out of my habitual life into a different reality or perspective. Native people call this crazy time, as this waiting and wondering can bring us face to face with our deepest fears about who we are, how we show up in the world, and where we are going. Liminal space invites us to surrender to the unknown so we can experience something new. It requires trust and letting go, allowing parts of who we are to dissolve. It means releasing the past because we cannot see where we are going if we keep looking back. And it really means arriving in the essence of our soul, which is true and pure. Liminality requires us to be vulnerable, to really experience the self-loathing, our losses, our disappointments, but then open ourselves to the unknown so we can truly experience the spirit of life and hopefully find strength. There's a place in the soul where you've never been wounded. There's a place in the soul where you've never been wounded. That's from mystic Meister Eckhart. This is the sacred place we are seeking. Can we find this place right now? Can we close our eyes again or gaze downwards? Can we let go of all the thoughts? Can we soften our bodies and our minds? Can we listen for the sound of our hearts? Can we ask ourselves, what needs to dissolve in me or around me so I can sense my soul, my spirit, the essence of who I am? So leading up to this week, I was looking for that threshold to enter. I was meditating, which I do, walking in the woods. I was doing shamanic journeying. I was seeking a mysterious landscape to travel through so I could share a cool experience with you today. No ego here. But that's not how spirit works, right? So yesterday, I gave up, and I lied down on my front lawn, which is on a very busy street. And, the bugs were there, and the sun was there, and cars were going by, and I just closed my eyes, and I breathed deeply. And it happened, not immediately, but as I watched my breath, and I listened to the birds, and I let my heart merge with the earth, my heart that I was avoiding for days. This spring began to bubble up, and a stream of grief and sadness for the world gently emerged, and it set me free. Many of us entered liminal space during the virus. What a great teaching about liminal space. You, as a congregation, were in liminal space for a few years after your longtime minister retired. So we can choose to fight against this liminal space and struggle and be miserable. Or we can flow with it by listening, sensing, and responding. Our transformation and evolution as a species requires us to enter liminal space time and time again. That's not what the media tells us. Perhaps as a world, we've all been avoiding liminal space. Theologian Richard Rohr believes the unique and necessary function of religion is to lead us into this crazy liminal time. Sadly, this is not always the case. Instead, religion has largely become a confirmation of the status quo and business as usual. Religion should lead us into sacred space where deconstruction of the old normal can occur. But the earth knows better. Perhaps our great Mother Earth, with all her wisdom and all that she is doing right now, is inviting us into collective liminality so humanity can transform into something new and sustainable. This time is calling into question the very core of our beliefs, practices, and identities. So how do we navigate liminality or crazy time? Well, first we have to make friends with it. And we can allow ourselves to have our feelings of loss, grief, sadness, anger, shame, and move on and out of the familiar negativity. We don't settle for more of the same. We can find someone to wait in the space with us and avoid isolation. We can write or sing or paint or jog or garden or meditate or sit with the tree. We can look up for blue sky through the spout. But we must stay curious and positive. We can find heroic figures who have survived liminal space. And you can use this community to become friends with liminality by showing up and engaging with each other, trusting that we're not alone and that together we find our way, because liminality requires faith. Faith that there's something beyond our wounds and the wounds of the world. Faith that we are not alone, even when we're treading water in the center of the still night sea, but that we are held by something greater and wiser than us. When we take time to pause and be with our hearts, be with the earth, then this energy, and we have different names for it, it could be our ancestors, God, universal consciousness, earth, or humanity itself. So I invite you to dive into these liminal spaces often and stay in them as long as possible. This time, our time on this earth is so sacred. It's a privilege to be here now because the old world is falling away and a brighter, more expansive world is being revealed. So let's not be trapped in normalcy. Without liminal space, we idealize normalcy, which is what got us into so much of the problems that we're in. I love this quote by Brené Brown. "We will not go back to normal. Normal never was. Our pre-corona existence was not normal other than we normalized greed, inequity, exhaustion, depletion, extraction, disconnection, confusion, rage, hoarding, hate, and lack. We should not long to return, my friends. We are being given the opportunity to stitch a new garment, one that fits all of humanity and nature." To stitch a new garment, to create a new way of being in the world, and a healthy, just, and sustainable earth, we must welcome liminality, where the spirit of life is alive, where the holy dwells, where our souls are not wounded, and where freedom is possible. All transformation begins here. Amen, and blessed be.
Good morning. I'm Pat Moore, a member of the Worship Committee, and this is a time in the service where we receive the offering. I suggest that if you haven't already, look in your order of service. There's an article about the Habitat for Humanity. Our church had a fantastic team for it this year, making $15,461. Thank everybody, and many of the people are here, for being in that march. Or walk, I don't know, maybe it wasn't a march. Please say with me the congregational response.
So I was very touched that the hymn that I chose, number 22, was written by Nancy Dorian, a member of your church, who I hear is a brilliant linguist. So let's sing it now. Number 22, Dear Weaver of Our Lives' Design. Our closing words are from Patrick Overton from The Leaning Tree. When you walk to the edge of all the light you have and take that first step into the darkness of the unknown, you must believe that one of two things will happen. There will be something solid for you to stand upon, or you will be taught to fly.
Greet your neighbor.